Hi everyone, this is Andrew. Today I'll be doing my third algebra tutorial, and the focus will be on the quadratic formula. So here it is: x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And remember, a quadratic equation must take the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. If it doesn't take this form, well, you have to rearrange it so that it does. So when do we use the quadratic formula? Well, we can use it any time, really. We could use it for any quadratic problem. However, it's probably the most time-consuming of the methods, so I typically wouldn't use it except as a last resort. Okay, so let's do a problem. Here we go. 2x squared plus 3x minus 9 equals 0. Okay, I'm not going to rewrite the quadratic formula every time, but in an exam you probably would. Okay, so x will equal minus b, so minus 3, plus or minus the square root of b squared, b is, so 3 squared, minus 4 times a is 2, times c is minus 9, all divided by 2 times a, so 2 times 2, so minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared is 9, minus 4 times 2 is 8, times 9 is 72, 8 9s are 72, so it's a negative, so this will be a positive, all over 4. Minus 3 plus or minus the square root, 9 plus 72 is 81, isn't it? So the square root of 81 is just 9, all divided by 4. So we can go ahead and solve that now. So it'll be minus 3 minus 9 over 4, or minus 3 plus 9 over 4, which will equal minus 3 minus 9 is minus 12 over 4, or minus 3 plus 9 is 6 over 4. Simplify those fractions. The common factor there is 4, isn't it? So 12 divided by 4 is 3. It's 3. So it'll be minus 3 over 1, won't it? Or 6 divided by 4 divided by 2, 3 on 2. That's a negative, isn't it? Can't forget that. So the answer will be... No, it isn't. It's not a negative. Minus 3 plus 9 is positive 6, isn't it? 6, so the answer will be minus 3 or 3 over 2. Great. Let's do another problem. How about, what if we didn't have all of a, b, and c? We just had 2 of them, which is a valid. So we had, say, x squared minus 7 equals 0. We could solve this another way, but let's just use the formula. x equals minus b. Now, is there a b? There isn't, is there? Because the b is the x term. So it'll be 0, won't it? So minus b is still 0. 0 plus or minus b squared, 0 squared, minus 4 times a is 1, times negative 7, all divided by 2 times a, 2 times 1. So we'll get 0 plus or minus the square root. We don't need to write that 0, do we? You can just say plus or minus the square root. Okay, 0 squared is 0, minus 4 times 1 is 4, 7 times 4 is 28, and there's 2 minuses there, they counter each other. So the square root of 28 over 2 times 1 is 2. Oop. Right, so how can we deal with this square root of 28? Could we not write the square root of 28 as 4 times 7? So 7 4s are 28, aren't they? Can we see that 4 is a perfect square? All that divided by 2. Now, if we've got a perfect square in there, we can take it out of the square root. So the square root of 4 is 2, isn't it? So we can put the 2 out the front, keep the 7 under there, and divide everything by 2. This is looking pretty sweet. So the 2's cancel out, don't they? Cancel out. So we'll get plus or minus, so 2's cancel out, root 7. Plus or minus root 7. And that's our answer. X equals plus or minus root 7. Now what was the other way we could have done that? An easier way actually. So that's our original problem. X squared minus 7 equals 0. X squared minus 7 equals 0. Well, we could just take the 7 to the other side, couldn't we? X squared will equal 7. Find the square root of x. Because it's a square root, we have to plus or minus. Plus or minus root 7. So that would have been the easier way to do it. Okay, let's do one last problem. I don't particularly like using the quadratic formula. So let's go over here and do one more. How about 6x squared plus 11x minus 10 equals 0. Right. Now, looking at that, it'd be hard to solve that, wouldn't it, using factorization, for example. So, we'll use the formula. X equals minus b, which is 11, plus or minus the square root of b squared, 11 squared, minus 4 times a times c, minus 10, all divided by 2 times a, 2 times 6, minus 11, plus or minus the square root of, okay, 11 squared is 121, right? Minus 4 6s are 24, times 10 is 240. The minuses cancel out, so plus 240. All divided by 2 times 6 is 12. Minus 11 plus or minus 121 plus 240 is 361. It looks like a perfect square. Divide by 12. Now, what's the square root of 361? You can use a calculator if you like, but it turns out to be 19, right? Plus or minus the square root of 19. No, not the square root. Plus or minus 19 divided by 12. Right, we can solve that now. So x will equal minus 11 minus 19 divided by 12, or minus 11 plus 19 divided by 12. Minus 11 minus 19 is minus 30 on 12. Or minus 11 plus 19 is positive 8, right? Over 12. So that's 30 there. What's the common factor? 30 and 12. How about 6? 30 minus 30 divided by 6 is minus 5. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so minus 5 over 2, or divide by 4, so 2/3. And that is our answer. Minus 5 over 2, or 2/3. And that'll do us for our quadratic formula. As I said, I don't particularly like using it, but it's another option, another tool in your maths tool belt. Okay, thank you.